Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Clarkston Independence District Library Board of Trustees meeting for December 12th, 2016 at, what is that,
5:49.
49, thank you.
You really need to get a different clock.
Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Dan Gaffney.
Here.
Michelle Ginn.
Here.
Dan Green.
Here.
Mary Kimber absent. Sally Lamb absent. Allison McFadden Kiesling.
Here.
Marilyn Pomeroy.
Here.
Julie Merritt here.
I'll accept an approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Any comments or questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Jan, call to the public. Have anything for us tonight?
Since the Friends haven't met since your last meeting, we're meeting on Wednesday, I don't have a formal report. I will share with you that the holiday book sale was a success, and we raised over $3,200
Thank you.
for the library.
All right. Any other members of the public? Okay. The call to the public has ended. The consent agenda, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll accept a motion to approve the consent agenda.
moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any item that anyone wants to remove for special discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is approved. Library statistics in color.
We don't really have any commentary on the statistics this evening. Do you have anything that you wanted to let them know about, Bill?
Just one of the largest days, of course, was Election Day. We had 1,700 people go through the doors on that day, which is about the highest I've seen since we started keeping statistics. But other than that, no. Oh, and the open mic night had a decent pass through the doors.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Okay, library director's report.
Okay. Under buildings and grounds, our engineer has begun work on the RFP for phase 3 of our parking lot reconstruction project. This is an Energizer Bunny of a project. It just is year-round. This will include the flat portion of the parking lot, including all of the parking spaces. The plan is to put out the project for bids the second week of January and receive bids the first week of February. We would like the work to take place between May and mid-June of 2017. Next item, the library closed Sunday, December 11th due to inclement weather and reopened Monday, December 12th at noon. Materials are not due and fines will not accrue on Sunday or Monday in order to give patrons additional time to return their items. Our auto renew system will further assist patrons in preventing overdue materials during the stress of winter weather.
I, for one, appreciate that.
Yes. We did have a lot of calls, people saying that they were still digging out. We said, don't worry, you're okay. In terms of project updates, last week I did a presentation for the Clarkston Area Optimist Club regarding our Harwood Community Conversation Project. I will be working with Kathy Middleton, the Optimist Club president, to arrange a conversation time for interested Optimist members. Next item, recently I met with Bob Cesario, a retired trainer from Independence Township Fire Department, who is now using his skills to consult and train organizations regarding safety and emergency procedures. We discussed a plan to have him assist a safety committee made up of library employees with a project to overhaul our emergency procedures and develop a plan to train staff in these important skills. We will be meeting again in January to go over the possible timeline for this project. This is something that came up during our all-staff training day, that the staff would like to see more robust emergency procedures. So we are going to get the staff engaged in that project. I figure if they help write them, then they will also help, that will help everybody to remember them. So
Now, this is in the overall plan of relooking at all of our policies and
Yep.
procedures.
Yep. And we hadn't gotten to the emergency procedures yet, so we're going to tackle those. Next item, the business and marketing librarian has been working on developing a business center in the library. She's overhauled the business and career collections and developed a plan to relocate the center where the copier is located. We have done some preliminary work on this. I'm just putting this back in because it's still a work in progress, and I just wanted to point out that we are still working on that. Next item, our community relations coordinator and business and marketing librarian have been working together to develop new logo-related items, including business cards, banners, letterhead, etc., including that which your director's report is on. The staff is extremely excited to be able to rebrand the library with this new look. So that includes things on the website and that sort of thing. In terms of collaborations, last month the Friends of the Library approved a project to replace our old drinking fountain with a new one that includes a filtering system, bottle filler, and a counter to help our patrons know how many bottles have been prevented from going into a landfill by this new piece of equipment.
It's great.
So it's really, the staff loves it too. So it's it's the same drinking fountain that they have in all of the schools, and so we put it in, and while the plumber was still running back and forth doing some final work on installing it, a young lady walked right up to it and filled her water bottle and kept walking, didn't even realize it was brand new, because she was so used to seeing it at the school. So.
It was well used on election day too.
Oh, I bet.
Yes, it was very, and I liked the water bottle.
The water bottle filler is really a nice feature. We didn't realize how much we were going to love that until it was here. So. Last item on collaborations. Several years ago, we had a paper recycling bin placed on the library grounds to assist our staff and patrons in their efforts to recycle paper, magazines, junk mail, etc. When we first started this program, we would receive a small amount of money based on weight for the paper we recycled. The company has sold twice over the years, and at one point, we were no longer receiving a check for recycling paper. The program was purchased by Royal Oak Recycling just over a year ago, and we are once again receiving some money for the weight of the paper we recycle. While it isn't a large sum, it is still certainly worth the effort for the environment, and the quarterly check is a nice bonus. So I encourage people to add their unwanted paper, magazines, newspapers, etc. to our bin as they clean for the holidays.
Yes, it was full to the brim yesterday.
Nope. Then we better call and do that.
I'll call tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Let's move to regular business. Number 1, I see, electronic signage project sitting right here.
In August, the library board approved an electronic signage project. The committee that developed the plan and executed the project will provide an update.
Okay, so earlier this year, a few months ago, we came to you asking for some money to put up new digital signage and do a complete PR overhaul in the library. And we're happy to report that so far we've been very successful. So far to date, we received all of the equipment in like mid-September. The signs went live in early October. In just those 2 months, we've already saved 47 event posters. Those are the large posters that we did not need to print because we were able to put up digital signs. And that is not even including all of the different cancellations and changes that we've had to make to signs just through to normal business that we were able to push up. We have kind of the greatest hits collection running over here of ones that we've done before. Also, our proposal included the acquisition of these new poster holders, which we've been using for calendar events and things like that. And we've had many parents say that they really appreciate this. These are placed throughout the library. We have one for adult events, which is here, and we also have a teen and a kid event one in the respective sections in the library. And parents have said that they really appreciate these, being able to see all our events at a glance, and also that they have handouts there. One of the things that we sold you on with the digital signage was the ability for all staff members to be able to put up digital signage without the need of the IT department to do that. And we've developed a program that allows for a seamless upload and deletion of the signs when they're ready to go live and when they need to be removed. That entire process is automated. No one needs to be involved in it. You just drop the signs into the folder and go about your business. So that's been working out. And then we've also used it to advertise things, most recently the Friends of the Library book sale. We were able to move our mobile cart just out front so that all of our patrons coming in could see that. So we've had a lot of success with it in just 2 months, and we're looking forward to a bright future in 2017 with all the new things we could do with digital signage. Thanks.
Thank you. Very concise. Now, the next project We'll enjoy looking at this the whole meeting. Next project is the point of sale project update.
At the November meeting, the committee working on the project to upgrade the library's point-of-sale system and allow credit card and debit cards as a method of payment provided the board with a timeline for executing this project. The committee hoped to have a proposal for the December or January meeting. The options have been narrowed, and the committee is very close to a recommendation. We actually met on Thursday night in hopes of being able to have something for you today, and we're that close. We are currently comparing pricing between two companies and anticipate a project proposal at the January 2017 board meeting. So we are very, very close.
We spoke about this during the book sale, when people were asking how could they pay and so forth and so on, and we said that the library was very close to having such a program available for paying your fines and things at the library. So we've been letting them know that this was coming.
So close.
All right. Number 3, we have some budget corrections.
Okay. And this one is my fault. Due to a misunderstanding regarding the steps needed to properly document the transfer of the retiree healthcare funding vehicle funds that were transferred back to the library from the township, a few budgetary corrections need to be made. The budget adjustment of October 17, 2016 should have been a budget amendment from fund balance to line 719. We took it from the revenue line that it was supposed to go into, and I didn't realize it was a revenue line, and I put it on there, and the accountant called me and said, no, you can't do that. So I apologize for that. We need to rescind that budget adjustment and correct it. In addition, the board needs to establish a budget of funds transferred back to the library from the township so the funds will be properly documented as they transfer into fund balance at the end of the year. You created the line, but the auditor felt that it wasn't clear that you were creating a budget line. So they want you to redo that. Basically, they want that redone to say, establish a budget of $667,897 to line 694.002. They just wanted to clarify it so it actually shows up in the budget. Budget was not in the motion, and he felt that wasn't clear enough. Okay, so in summary, the library's accountant and auditor have clarified the steps that are needed. 1, rescind the budget adjustment made on October 17th of 2016. Number 2, establish a budget of the amount transferred from the township to the library so that this revenue will appear in the budget and will be properly documented when it transitions to fund balance at the end of the year. Right now, the way it is, the auditor feels it would be invisible. So. And then number 3, approve a budget amendment from fund balance to line 719, MERS HCSP of 137,997.56, which previously had been taken from the wrong line item.
Okay, has everybody digested that?
I think so.
Redo. Yeah, that's right.
It was a wording issue in the motions, and I apologize.
Oh, you're human. You're right. Besides,
I'm also not an auditor.
and
so-
we've never done this before, so.
And hopefully we won't have to do it again.
It's true. Can we make the recommended motion as one recommendation, or would you like 3 motions?
3 motions.
All right, motion number 1, who's up?
I move to rescind the motion of October 17th, 2016 to approve a budget adjustment of $137,997.56 from line item 694.002 RHFV transfer to line 719 MER at the MERS HCSP.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we're going to rescind the motion from October 17th. Any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Okay.
I move that we establish a budget of $767,897 to line item 694.002 RHFB transfer.
Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we establish a budget of $767,897 to line item 694.002. Are there any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, nay. That motion is carried. Now, number 3.
I move to approve budget amendment of $137,997.56 to line item 719, MERS HSCP from fund balance.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve a budget amendment of $137,997.56 to line item 719 from fund balance. Any comments or questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you.
Apologize for that.
Well, as soon as you get your accountant's license, then let us
Yeah, I
know.
thought I had all my ducks in a row on that one, and then I did not, so I apologize for that.
Okay, and speaking of money, let's look at number 4.
Okay, so we are doing the year-to-date budget report and the recommendation of final budget adjustments for 2016. So you have your report from the accountant. We'll start on the side that has the property taxes at the top of the page.
Yes.
Everybody there? Okay. I know sometimes they end up in your packet backwards. I apologize for that.
This one here. That's right.
With the property tax at the top.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So the accountant pointed out 4 line items that she had concern about. And then I had a few that I captured some adjustments that we needed to do as well. So the first one is 722, short-term disability. We have one more payment left for $264, well, we have one more payment left, and we are recommending a budget transfer of $264 in order to make sure we have enough in that line item. We actually have additional money in professional and contract services to cover all of tonight's recommended budget adjustments because we put extra money in that line item to pay the engineer to do all of the work on phase 3, and he did not do as much of it before the end of the year as we anticipated.
Okay.
So there is a surplus in 818 without any trouble, should be able to cover all of these budget adjustments.
That'll make it easier.
Yep, it will make it easier. So you actually have a list that I gave you that was in the pile with your,
On the desk.
with your
Oh, yes, thank you.
statistics and your director's report that is a list of everything I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
Okay, so the next one is 982.3, which is books, teen books. We're over budget by about $230. I think I went through the packet and it looks like there's one more small invoice as well. So I'm recommending a transfer of $300 to cover that. And then we'll be all set there. Brad came to me for 982.5. Which is the downloadables. He thinks we're going to be right on track, but he was a little bit concerned because we have Hoopla, and Hoopla is a pay-per-usage service. And we're getting down near the end of the year, and his budget is tight. And so he's asking for $400 to make sure that when we get to the end of December that he will definitely have enough to adequately cover usage between now and the end of the year. And I asked him 4 times, are you sure that's all you need? And he said yes.
So that would put it just over 2,000 left in that.
Yep,
item.
and
Okay.
he thinks that he's only going to need probably 1,600, but he was a little bit concerned that people will get new devices at Christmas time and borrow additional things, and that he might be a little bit tight. So we decided, he's been tracking it very carefully since we instituted this service, so he's trying really hard to make sure that he's right on target.
Well, that's an unknowable. Because
It's an
a
unknowable,
pay-per-view.
yep, it is, but he's feeling pretty confident, so. Okay, so the next one, on the next page, 818.710 is adult programming. This was the second one that the accountant pointed out, and it was also one that I knew about, that Lawrence had come to me, and he had said that we added one additional program. He did everyone's reading this year, which was not something he had budgeted for, and so he needs $285 in order to cover the $87 that is over budget and that little bit of extra money for one more invoice. So he knew exactly what it was from, and he actually told me about it in July, and I said, well, let's wait until we get to the end of the year and make sure that you actually are going to go over budget before we put more money in that line item, so.
Okay.
The third one that the accountant pulled that she was concerned about was 910, insurance. That actually is not a concern. We budgeted $18,000, we spent $17,224. We have paid all the invoices. The last invoice is due in July. So she just wanted to make sure there wasn't anything in addition.
No outstanding.
No outstanding bills, and so we're good there. So I just wanted to assure you that in the meeting, the accountant asked about that one, and I am letting you know that, no, that one's okay. So, no change needed there. The last one that she commented on was 924, water and sewer. We actually talked about this one over the summer, and I don't know if you remember, but this is the one that we laid the sod for phase 2 of the parking lot, and then it went to 90 degrees and very, very dry and stayed that way for about 6 weeks, and we were watering all of that new sod. So we are over budget in that line item, and that we would like to transfer $2,410 in order to cover that. This is a one-time thing. We certainly didn't want all of that sod to die. We paid a lot of money to have that put in. So.
Right.
We didn't want to have to replace it next year. But the water bill was much higher than usual. Another one that is sometimes a problem is building and grounds maintenance, 931. But I have double checked that one and I feel confident that we're okay. That's one that we almost always have to put extra money in at the end of the year, and I think we're actually spot on there. So I'm not worried about that, but I just wanted to let you know that we always talk about that one, and I didn't want to skip over it and have you think I forgot. 740.1, operating supplies. We always talk about operating supplies. We always get to the end of the year, and that one's a problem. I went into the invoice pile that's left for the last check run, and we have toner cartridges in that pile, and they will exceed the $890 that's left. So I'm asking for a transfer of $2,000 to ensure that we have enough to cover all of that. And then the last one that the accountant didn't really make a comment on, other than the fact that she thought that it was interesting that there was still a fair amount of money in it, is 975 building, $8,125. We have not yet received the invoice from Allied for the last piece of the structural slab. So I have emailed the engineer and Allied and said, hey guys, we need that before December 31st because that's this budget year, not next budget year. So I just wanted to reassure you that they should be on that and we should be getting that bill.
So the 2,900 should be enough.
That one should be.
What is that?
8,100, yeah. That should be more than
8,100,
enough.
okay.
Yep, that should be more than enough. Okay, so in summary, all of these can come from professional and contract services. 722, disability short-term, $264. 982.3, teen books, $300. 982.5, downloadable books, $400. 818.7, adult programs, $285. 924, water and sewer, $2,410. And 740.1, operating supplies, $2,000.
And do you have, because I can see a way to make this easily as one motion if you have a total dollar amount?
Oh, you can actually, I think you can.
As presented?
As presented.
Okay, then I move that we approve those as presented.
Second.
Second.
Okay, who's going to be second? Dan?
We'll let Dan. It's been moved and seconded that we make the transfer of funds as presented. Any comments or questions? It's very clear, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Since we haven't done this a lot, are you pretty comfortable with the amount of balances we've incurred over the years? They seem pretty spot on. The department heads were pretty good
They
about.
seem to be doing, and we're starting to, they're starting to get a little more comfortable with getting their budgets written earlier. It's hard for them to, because of course we're talking about the 2017 budget in July, and we have some department heads who have only ever done one budget cycle, so they're a little bit unsure if what they asked for last year is good until they get to the end of 2016. And so here I am in July of 2016 saying, now, are you sure you have everything you need for 2017? So, but they're feeling more confident about it. And we're actually, you can see by these small numbers that we're moving around, that they did really well.
Yes, they
Yes,
did.
so-
Because none of that is,
Those are not huge numbers.
No.
the only one that's even close to being substantial is is water and sewer because
There was
of.
nothing we could have
Right,
done.
and that was out of anyone's
Yeah.
control, so.
Yeah.
So really, we have less than $6,000 $1,000 that we needed to rearrange.
And we've done some budget adjustments over the course of the year. I try not to make too many in advance of the end of the year because, I don't like to make a budget adjustment until I know something's going to go over budget. That's why I said to Lawrence, well, let's wait on your program budget until you're sure that you're actually going to spend everything. I mean, if a presenter were to cancel and there would have been enough money in that line item, there would have been no reason to make a budget adjustment. So I waited until the end for those, especially because it was such a small, he's like, I need another $285. I said, well, let's wait until December to make that then, just to be sure. Because it gets, I don't want you guys having to bounce, $200 back and forth between those. So.
Thank you. Okay, let's move to number 5.
Okay. Permission to post business and marketing librarian position. In 2014, the library board approved the creation of the business and marketing librarian position. In October of that year, the board appointed Melissa Henry to this position. Melissa has played a key role in the library's commitment to economic development and service to the business community. The library has developed a strong bond with the Clarkson Area Chamber of Commerce, the Downtown Retailers Group, and many of the local businesses and area entrepreneurs. Unfortunately for us, Melissa has accepted a position at a law firm closer to her home. Her last day as a full-time employee will be December 18th. Melissa is interested in staying on as a substitute librarian. As we have done with previous full-time employees who have become part-time employees, we would like to request permission to have her maintain some of her full-time employee authority. As we did with Faith Nelson and Andrea Teets, we would like her to be able to count money at the end of the night with a second full-timer and also qualify as a second full-time employee in terms of fulfilling our policy that we must have 2 full-time employees in the building at all times when we are open to the public. This would assist us in coverage, especially while we look for a replacement. Melissa has done an excellent job paving the way for her successor to take the services we offer the business community to the next level. We are requesting permission to post this position as defined in the attached board-approved job description. Since this is a full-time position, if one of the board members would like to be involved in the selection process, we would welcome your participation.
Okay. I'd like to volunteer for that.
Okay.
Okay, we have 2 motions here.
And the job description is the same one that you approved previously. The only very, very tiny change that we did under primary duties and responsibilities, number 5, develop and guide the library's marketing strategies. We put a comma and added including social media. Melissa thought that it should be very clear that social media is a part of that. We had social media listed other places, but she said, I do a lot of social media, and you should definitely make sure that your next candidate is highly capable of doing those things. So that was the only small change that we made from the previously approved.
Okay. All right. I'll accept a motion.
Okay, I move to approve Melissa Henry as a part-time librarian with limited full-time employee authority as requested.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve Melissa Henry as part-time librarian with limited full-time employees authorities as requested. Any comments or questions? This is not a new situation, so everyone who is in favor of this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, nay? Motion is carried.
And I move that we approve the posting for a business and marketing librarian as presented.
Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the posting for a business and marketing librarian as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Motion is approved. Now, the emergency closure policy. Since we just had an emergency closing, it's a good time to review this.
Well, we probably should have reviewed it last month, but
It was warm.
when the library was a township department, we had a policy in which full-time employees were paid if there is an emergency closure of the township due to severe weather or power outage. When the library became a district library, we adopted the township policies and have been gradually reviewing and updating these policies to fit our needs. Our part-time employees are very dedicated, but there are a few accommodations in our policies that reflect their value to our organization. It has been suggested by our department heads that we should consider adjusting our emergency closure policy so that part-time employees who are mid-shift or who have arrived for their shift but must be sent home due to weather or power outage, also be paid for the remainder of their shift in recognition of their dedication to our organization and community. Many of our part-time employees are coming from a distance, so this would also take into consideration the gas expended to come to the library when they are sent home, unable to complete their shift due to no fault of their own. While not all libraries have this policy, it is one that is not uncommon and does assist in helping to keep good part-time employees. Attached is a draft of the policy, including the suggested revision.
That's on the back of your sheet.
And just so that you know, this would affect two part-timers when we closed yesterday. There were two people who were here for their shift that, when we sent everybody home, lost half of their shift because we sent them home early.
But they also had responsibilities in helping to close the
Yep.
library.
Yep, they helped call the other employees, and we don't pay, the proposal is that we would not pay if you don't come in, have to come in for your shift. So they helped call all the employees to let everybody know we were closing for the shift or closing for the day. But there were two yesterday. To give you kind of the parameters of the magnitude of it.
I think it's a good goodwill policy. That we-
Yeah, it's common sense, I think.
It just makes sense. If you're here, you've made the effort to send it in.
And it shouldn't impact the budget because those hours would have been budgeted.
That's right.
Right, exactly. And that's just something that no one's control over when the library needs to close, basically. It's not-
Right. So far, it's mostly been weather. We have had a power outage or two.
My first year, we had 6.
Yeah.
But then we got a squirrel guard on the power pole, and that really helped. So
There we go.
So luckily, we have not had to deal with that. So- And it's hard to call those. We had several conversations over the last couple days. What is the weather? What is it
I
predicted to
called Marilyn
be?
very
When-
early this morning.
you know, how does it seem to be coming? And today, since the snow still on the ground was heavier, it was wetter. And in some ways, that was slicker than we had
Yeah.
problems the first day. So those things are going to happen from time to time. And we were able to open at noon.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Is there a,
Well, I move that we approve the emergency closure policy as presented.
I'll second it.
okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the emergency closure policy and extend it to cover the most recent emergency. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you. So little by little, our policies are being reviewed, and we appreciate not getting the entire book at one time. And it was a big book. So how are we, as kind of an overall review, how are we coming on looking at the policies?
We've gone through most of the operational policies, the employee policies we have to tackle next, and I'm starting to do those sort of one at a time going through. We actually merged, when we were a township department, we had a union and non-union employees. So we had a union contract and we had non-union policies, and we've been merging those over the course of time and kind of taking the best of both and making one very streamlined system. So little by little, we're getting through those.
You anticipate 2017 might finish it up?
I'm hoping so. I'm getting tired of looking because it's a very tedious process to go through policy by policy.
It's word by word.
Yep, it is. And then what we'll do at the very, very end, after I've done all these individual policies, I'll put it together as a unit and send it to the attorney to go over all of it as a whole. And then you can look at it and approve the whole thing as one unit. But then you'll have already seen most of them one by one, the way we did the other policies.
Well, and as a new, relatively new organization, we want to make sure that everything is done by the book and transparent. So we appreciate the staff's effort in plowing through these items. Okay, thank you. All right. I will now accept a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. Anyone opposed? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at,
6:23.
thank you.